So there have been around 2,000, two dozens of them, 24 more, I think, have been attending now. I think there will be more coming as we are going to continue with this discussion. So this seminar is made possible by the cooperations of two departments in Paramadina University. One is Paramadina Graduate School, headed by our lovely Dr. Siska Prabawaning Tias. He's also attending here. Thank you, Bu Siska. And also the Department of International Relations of Paramadina University, headed by Dr. Tato Sudiarto, also attending this discussion. I think Ambassador Kim has come to Paramadina University before.
Sure, yes.
For the first time when you just arrived in Jakarta, I guess. So this is the second time, and again for that we have to thank you very much for that. Ambassador Kim, our main topic today is basically something I think part of your job every day, that is understanding New Southern Policy of Republic of Korea and how it is related to the relations between the two countries. But I think in the discussion, Ambassador Kim can talk beyond that also, because part of the classes that are being participated by our participants of seminar today is the diplomacy in ASEAN. So I think you can talk also a bit about how New Southern Policy is affecting or is influencing the diplomacy between ASEAN and South Korea in the current situation and also in the coming days. But before I hand over this floor to Ambassador Kim, let me also congratulate Ambassador Kim and Republic of Korea in general for being able to hold an election a few days ago, 15 April. That is amazing achievement. So you have been having two amazing achievements during this pandemic crisis. One is the capability of South Korea to be one of the role model in dealing with this crisis. And now you also move beyond that by becoming the first country in the world today that can continue with the election without violating the health protocols that should be put into place. So we congratulate you for that. And I think you can also, as long as it is related to New Southern Policy and the connection between Indonesia and South Korea and ASEAN, you can also touch a little bit about that. So let go to the meat now. In this seminar, I think we will start with the presentation by Ambassador Kim, maybe for about 30 to 40 minutes. Then I think, as agreed, I think Ambassador Kim is available for some Q&A. But I think considering the limitation of the time, I think we will limit the number of questions to 3 to 6 questions only. And I think as a moderator, I will set the rule that the question will be one-on-one. So anybody who would like to ask the question, you can raise your hand, or you can put on switch on the raise button in the Zoom application. Then I will point out to the person who is going to ask the question. Then after the question is being asked, then Ambassador Kim will answer. Then we'll continue on to the next question. So that is, I think, the way I'm going to moderate this this seminar. Without further ado, I think I would like to hand over the floor to Ambassador Kim. Ambassador Kim, floor is yours.
Thank you. Terima kasih banyak, my dear friend Pak Jayadi. and all the friends from Paramadina University, and also participants who are on YouTube live streaming. Senang sekali bisa bertemu dengan Anda sekalian. It's a bit unique situation that we are all meeting each other on the screen. My first visit to the University of Paramadina was about, I think, about 1 year, 1.5 years ago, and then the university is quite special to us because it's our closest university to our embassy office. So it's just across the street, Gatot Subroto. So we always feel dear at home, the presence of this distinguished university in our neighborhood. And thank you so much for the Bapak Jayadi on the availability of this wonderful occasion to see every one of you. Today's topic is about why ASEAN matters to Korea and why Korea is regarding ASEAN as so an important partner. And within that context, I'll be sharing with you the major elements of so-called New Southern Policy, which is a new initiative taken by the present government of Republic of Korea. And also I will touch upon bilateral relations between Indonesia and Korea. And also within that context, I will briefly explain what we are doing together in combating this global pandemic. So next. Yeah. I came to Indonesia, more or less about 2.5 years ago. I presented my credentials with a Korean traditional costume hanbok to President Jokowi. I think that you could recognize me. And my wife's on the backside of the myself standing, just shaking hands with President Jokowi was in another women's Korean traditional custom is that symbolizes merah putih, red and white. Yeah. Next. Yeah, I'll be going through this 3 topics today: why ASEAN and Korea matters to each other, and New Southern Policy, and Indonesia and Korea relations. Well, this Korea and ASEAN are sharing the same story within the last 5 decades. I think it's a miraculous kind of development and transformation that we have undergone. Korea's miracle is being characterized by 2 important phenomena, that is democratization at the same time with very fast economic development. Likewise, ASEAN has written its own story of miracle. Next. Well, ASEAN was created in the midst of the Vietnam War in the year of 1967, and Indonesia is one of the founding fathers of ASEAN, Southeast Asian Regional Cooperation Body, and it has been strengthened up through the various momentous historical events, including the end of Vietnam War. But let me just share with you one anecdote. I served in Brussels, Belgium, as the Korean ambassador to the European Union. It's another regional cooperation, which is quite similar and sometimes well comparable to the role and function of ASEAN. In 2012, the European Union, as a regional organization, has received Nobel Peace Prize of 2012. Why? Because it has been recognized as a source and leading engine for peace, reconciliation, and democracy. At that time, there were some discussions within our diplomatic corps that why not ASEAN? Because ASEAN has been an engine for prosperity within the regional bloc, and ASEAN has help maintain peace within the area for this more than 50 years time. So that has a kind of the similar bearings with European Union when we are talking about the role and the value of ASEAN. Next. So ASEAN's story of miracle has been written by 10 ASEAN member states. The founding member states have been joined by other 5 members. Now it's altogether 10. And it has undergone tremendous upgrading and evolution in the wake of 1997 and 1998 Asian financial crisis. That has fueled up the discussions and intense interest on so-called +3 countries, Japan, China, and Republic of Korea. So ASEAN +3 mechanism was given birth to by this crisis-like financial shocks across Asia and the Pacific. And this evolutionary path has been undergoing another jump with other additional member states to join this regional group, and it has been turning out to be so-called East Asia Summit that includes +3 countries like China, Japan, and Korea, but also Australia, New Zealand, India, Russia, and the United States. And then now it has increased up to 10 partnering countries, as you are seeing at the bottom of the slide. So it is now ASEAN +10. That is now comprising the so-called East Asia community kind of framework. That is now giving extra values to the role of ASEAN, who is always being seated at the driver's seat in leading the regional integration. Next. Well, let me turn to the bilateral sides of ASEAN-Korea cooperation. Why ASEAN matters to Korea? First, as you can see, the slide, ASEAN is the second largest trading partner on the part of Korea, next to China. The total volume of trade with ASEAN is exceeding $161 billion in the year of 2018, next to China. And on the part of ASEAN, likewise, Korea is standing as the 5th largest trading partner next to Japan. China is the largest trading partner vis-a-vis ASEAN, EU, United States, Japan, and Korea. So mutually, Korea and ASEAN are feeling very special in its trading relations. The trade volume has been increasing steadily. As you can see in the chart, this 2018, it has recorded more than $160 billion. And from 2011, only within 7 years' time, it has jumped up more than $35 billion. And the components, the contents of the major tradable goods and products are expanding. As you can see, this from ASEAN, also from Korea to ASEAN. Next. Well, another important aspect of our ASEAN-Korea partnership lies in the increasing and more intimate people-to-people exchange. Visitors from ASEAN to Korea is increasing quite a lot with a sharp pace of more than 10%, and visitors from Korea to ASEAN has risen likewise. For example, from ASEAN to Korea, still Thailand is the first country that is recording the largest number of visitors to Korea. Next is Vietnam, Philippines, and Indonesia. In 2018 was about 249,000 people who have visited Korea. On the other hand, from the Korea's viewpoint, the most frequent destination from the viewpoint of Koreans is Vietnam and Thailand and Philippines. Indonesia is still more or less at the lower part of this ranking. Indonesia, the Koreans visitors number has recorded around 359,000 people. And bilaterally, we have seen steady increase of Indonesian visitors to Korea, and also likewise Korean visitors to Indonesia. At the bottom of the slide, that you could see how many ASEAN citizens, ASEAN nationals are residing in Korea. Thailand is on the top, second Vietnam, and Indonesia is the fourth one next to Philippines. So more or less around 47,000 Indonesians living and working in Korea. Next. The ASEAN-Korea partnership has evolved with the transformative development of ASEAN itself. Korea has established its first sectoral dialogue partnership in 1989. It's about 30 years ago. And then full dialogue partnership in 1991. And then it has gradually upgraded its bilateral partnership with ASEAN from comprehensive cooperation partnership to strategic partnership that was agreed upon between ASEAN and Korea in the year of 2010, 10 years ago. And in the meantime, we have upgraded our trade and economic partnership through the conclusion of ASEAN-Korea Free Trade Agreement, which is FTA, in 2007. So it's more than 12 years ever since we have established free trade agreement between ASEAN as a regional cooperative body and Korea. Next. There are two important vehicles that we've been utilizing while we are developing, expanding, and promoting partnership between ASEAN and Korea. One is ASEAN-Korea Cooperation Fund. That was established in the year of 1990, 30 years ago. And it has been conducting programs and projects under that cooperation fund framework. The total amount of project money that the AKCF, ASEAN Korea Cooperation Fund, has utilized is accumulated number is 110 million US dollars. So annually, it has been using $7 million US dollars for promoting this ASEAN Korea bilateral exchanges and cooperation, try to encourage people-to-people exchange, and also try to give some assistance to research efforts on the part of both ASEAN and Korean research communities. And it has been upgraded and increased up to 14 million. It's twofold from the previous 2019. So from this year, this fund will be doubled from 7 million US dollars up to 14 million US dollars. That might give us more rooms for joint research and joint exchange and cooperation and projects. And another vehicle that on the right side is commemorative summits. As we have discussed, this we have first established a sectoral dialogue partnership in the year of 1989, and then last year was the 30th year anniversary of commemorating ASEAN-Korea Dialogue Partnership. Korea is the first country to have managed to commemorate this anniversarial years every 10 years. So we have started to organize this commemorative summit, a special summit in 2009, first time ever, celebrating the 20th year birthday. And then in 25 years birthday time, we have organized another summit in 2014 in Busan. And last year, November last year, we have organized another commemorative summit in Busan again. That was November 2019. So these blessings from the leaders of ASEAN member states have been giving us another big booster for moving ahead with the all the programs and projects that we've been conducting together. Yes. Well, there's two important the facilities that we are now making use of is the ASEAN Korea Center that is established in 2009, and it is located at the downtown Seoul. Maybe some of you might have already visited, and this is the actually clearinghouse for all the important projects and programs, and also conducting the public diplomacy to help enlarge the awareness of the public on ASEAN and ASEAN's values. And we have established another culture house, which is called ASEAN Culture House in Busan. It's the second largest city in the southern tip of the Korean Peninsula in 2017, which is also to promote cultures and diversities of ASEAN to the general public in Korea. Let me turn to New Southern Policy. Yes. As a matter of fact, this New Southern Policy is a key initiative taken by President Moon Jae-in, the current president of the Republic of Korea, when he made a visit to Jakarta in November 2017. So Jakarta is the center of gravity for the whole regional cooperation within the framework of ASEAN. So we have decided to choose Jakarta as a place to announce our new Southern Policy, which is basically to aim at expansion and enlarging our activities and outreaches with ASEAN 10 member countries. So its vision is based on people-centered community of peace and prosperity, and we are looking for how to explore shared future together with ASEAN. So the New Southern Policy is supported by 3 pillars. First pillar is people, second pillar is prosperity, and third pillar is peace. Let me elaborate on details in the next slide. Yeah. So there are 3 pillars that people, prosperity, and peace. Those pillars are more or less very similar and equivalent to what ASEAN is envisioning in strengthening up its own community building, its own integration. So people is more centered on people-to-people exchange, education, cultural and social cooperation, and the prosperity mainly focus upon economic side. There's trade, investment, economic cooperation, and technology based cooperation and science and startups. Those are the items that are being covered by prosperity. We have several